This is Bridgerton Fancast, a podcast about Netflix's biggest show, Bridgerton, and we're its hosts. I'm Michelle. I live in the States. You can find me at Musings on Instagram and Twitter.
And I'm Rita. I live in England, and I'm at Rita Bites on Instagram and Twitter, though I seem to exclusively be on the Bridgerton Fancast Twitter. I am sorry. This week, we're going to be discussing the 8th and final episode of the first season. But before we start, just a heads up, because I know that you guys stop 3 minutes before the episode ends. I can see how far you listen. This is not our final podcast. Next week, we'll be doing a season overview podcast where we can talk about the whole season and speculate about season 2. So our inbox is very open to any points you want to make about the show as a whole. Please get those in ASAP.
Yes. By the way, the podcast will contain discussions about sex. If you hadn't already noticed. Because it was featured in the episode. So if you're around children or anyone sensitive to that kind of content, please consider this your heads up. Episode 8 was called After the Rain, and it was written by showrunner Chris Van Dusen. It was directed by Ulrich Riley, and here is another recap to remind you of what went down in the episode.
Okay, so the episode began with another Whistledown missive and a flashback to 1804, where a Miss Mary Leopold secured a marriage proposal in just 4.5 minutes. Damn well.
Yeah.
The couple then immediately left London after marrying Trey Mysterious. Watch out for the bee on her wedding flowers, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe this is a season 2 clue.
Interesting. We then get a montage of marriages in the ton. First, Lady Featherington and the Baron who hate each other. Will and his wife who are all lovey-dovey in bed. Queen Charlotte watching King George lose his shit again. And then Violet Bridgerton waking up and reaching out for Edmund, her super dead husband. Finally, Simon and Daphne, who are sitting for a portrait, and it's very stilted and awkward. We learn that Simon is planning to leave London and his wife at the end of the season after they host their last ball. How nice.
A separation ball, you know.
Yeah.
Over at Bridgerton House, an acute domestic scene is playing out. Eloise is bugging Benedict for information on Madame Delacroix and telling him not to trust her. Meanwhile, Hyacinth is bugging Anthony to join in the family's notorious pal-mal game that summer at Aubrey Hall.
Provided you stay clear of my lucky mallet, I think it a fine idea.
You cannot be in earnest.
I should begin practicing straight away.
Anthony is coming. That is a clue. Also, in fantastic news for me, a Francesca Bridgerton stan. She is arriving back from that endless trip to Aunt Winnie's, whoever that is, and she'll be finally in another episode, so huzzah. Over at the Featheringtons, Marina is packing. She is ready to blow this joint because she thinks the tea has aborted her fetus, so yeah, okay, hun.
Yeah.
Penelope worries that she should not be up and about yet, and Marina apologizes for, quote, everything, and tells her that she was right about Colin and that one day Colin will see how good and kind Penelope is to him and yada yada yada. We can finally get the Penelope and Colin love story we deserve, I deserve, they deserve. As they are having this conversation though, a coach pulls up to the house carrying a handsome young man.
Cut to a flower market, and Daphne and her mother are discussing Daphne's planned separation from her husband. Violet encourages her to forgive Simon and move forward, which is ironic as hell, because when Baroness Featherington approaches them, it's very clear that Violet is not willing to take her own advice on the matter. Daphne decides to be the bigger person and invites all of the Featheringtons to her season-ending ball. While they're talking, they all learn that the carriage that has arrived at the house contained a Mr. Crane, and Daphne's ears perk up, thinking that she has finally found Sir George Crane. When they arrive back at the Featheringtons, and we learn he is not George, but his brother Philip. Sir Philip, that is. George died on the battlefield weeks ago. Who's surprised? Nobody. Anyway, Sir Philip retrieves Marina a letter from George that he was writing before he died, where he promised to find her and marry her. Marina thanks Daphne for helping her because now she knows George really loved her, and she cries and admits that she was wrong.
Hallelujah. Okay. Eloise shows up at Madame Delacroix's Modi's shop at buck-crack in the morning and wakes her and her brother up. She makes up some lame excuse about needing a dress, but basically uses the conversation to try and convince her that Lady Whistledown should write something nice about the Featheringtons. And oh, by the way, the Queen is trying to find her out, so she should be careful. Madame Delacroix smiles and nods like she understood what's going on, but she doesn't. It's very clear. She has no idea. Over at Daphne's, the house is bustling with activity as the poor servants prepare for this gigantic ball. Daphne runs into Simon as he leaves for Will's boxing match, and she asks him what his father did to make him take the vow in the first place. He tells her that they don't need to have that conversation and insists that she will be better off without him. What he doesn't understand is that there is nothing more irresistible than that sentence to a woman.
We then head to the boxing match. As he prepares for the fight, Will tells his wife that he is tired of groveling to the ton for patronage and money and that he wants to secure his and his family's future. Meanwhile, Baron Featherington is acting foolish and betting the deed to his frickin' house on Will losing the match. Simon shows up and wishes Will luck, but notices him making eye contact with Baron Featherington and becomes suspicious. Suspicious minds. Anyway, back at the Featheringtons, and Sir Philip asks Marina to marry him. He feels that it is a matter of duty and that he would be fulfilling his brother's wishes to support the woman he loved and their child. Marina rejects him because she doesn't love him. Everyone in the room with them is like, what? Because as a ruined woman, this was her last chance at a respectable marriage.
Meanwhile, Daphne has entered Simon's father's office and started rooting around. She finds the letters Simon wrote him when he was a child, informing him of his progress with his stutter. While she processes this, Lady Danbury arrives to help her with the ball. Instead, she ends up helping Daphne understand what kind of a father the Duke had. Daphne remarks at how different a man he is from his father. No shit.
Yeah.
Over at the boxing match, Anthony sees Sienna and they have sex under the bleachers. And I screamed no. No! Will throws the match and loses in a very unconvincing manner. I mean, he just flops like a dead fish. Simon is furious at him and asks him about his sense of honor. And Will's like, nothing is more honorable than caring for my family. And I was like, preach it, Will, preach it. Which is like, ooh, you can see Simon learning the lesson. He was like, oh.
Yes.
And he politely asks Simon to stop projecting his own issues onto his wife and him. And yeah, oh my God. Will, marry me.
Mic drop. Back at the Featheringtons, and Portia is basking in all the money Lord Featherington has brought home and pushes aside her creeping feeling that something is amiss. Who cares? They're rich again. Dresses for everybody.
The uglier the better.
Yes, please. And as bright as hell.
We want to see them from Mars.
Exactly. The next morning, Daphne invites Simon to come with her to Bridgerton House. Her entire family is gathering to greet Francesca. He agrees, and it is hella cute. As soon as he arrives, Hyacinth bombards him with questions. Across the room, Benedict reluctantly tells Anthony that he is seeing Madame Delacroix. Anthony, unexpectedly, is like, good for you, bro. And everyone gasps. Colin sings while Francesca plays the piano. It's cute as hell. Penelope enters the room and looks longingly before approaching Eloise. Eloise grabs her excitedly and tells her that she has found Lady Whistledown and that it's Madame Delacroix. Penelope is like straight-faced emoji. Wow. How impressive. Eloise is pushing her yet again to be an unmarried, independent woman, and Penelope is like, girl, my family is broke and ruined. That's not gonna happen. Back on the other side of the room, and Simon promises Hyacinth a pony, and then makes her an origami horse. He starts making horse noises and is being super cute, and Daphne watches on with heart eyes.
Over at the Featheringtons, and the girls are freaking out about finally having new dresses. God forbid they wear the same one twice. Everyone except Penelope, because she has yet again been stuck with a yellow dress. Portia is like, hey, maybe Mr. Finch might even reconsider his proposal to Philippa now that she has her dowry back again.
Again?
Yeah.
Or did I lose it somewhere the first time?
Walking past them
Whoops.
is Marina, who drops a plate dramatically and clutches at her stomach. I always hate it when people drop stuff.
Yeah.
That might be expensive. Apparently she needs a doctor or whatever, and he tells her she is very, very pregnant, and we're all like, yeah, of course, you're still pregnant. You just had some tea.
Yeah, you had some tea. It made you sick.
It just, Unfortunately, we then go to Sienna and Anthony, who are frolicking in a bed, and Anthony asks her to attend his sister's ball with him, which is a scandal waiting to happen and would make his mother cry. But whatever, I guess for a moment, Sienna is like, yay, he loves me, I'm Cinderella, and everything is perfect and magical and a fairy tale, and the audience just collectively rolls its eyes.
Mm-hmm. Daphne and Simon's servants finish preparing the ball that they have been boldly decided to host outdoors in England. They are asking for trouble. But anyway, as they inspect the arrangements, they start flirting again and bantering about how many dances they should dance together, just like old times. Their guests begin to arrive, and following a gorgeous ball montage of dancing and general frivolity, Eloise and Violet arrive. Daphne approaches her sister and tells her that she looks fabulous in a ball gown. Yas, girl, slay! Because she really, really did. But that if she would like to spend the evening in the library, then she will not mind. True big sister energy. Eloise thanks her for being so perfect that she doesn't have to. Aw, too cute. The Featherington girls arrive at the ball, much to the surprise of the gossipy mamas everywhere. And it's blinding when they show up in all of that.
Everybody else was in blue and white. And then they were like, hey!
Here comes the peacock. Philippa immediately joins Cheese Boy on the dance floor, and Portia glows in the bask of her victory. She has clawed her way back. Although while she is enjoying her moment of triumph, her husband is off getting drunk at a brothel because men ain't shit. When he gets inside a bedchamber, he finds his bookies waiting for him with a bottle of poison. So not going so great for him, huh?
Oh, how the turntables, or tables turn, or whatever.
Yes.
Back at the ball and Colin arrives, he immediately approaches Penelope and asks her for forgiveness for not listening to her sooner about Marina. Penelope is like, hey, it's no big, you were in love. And speaking of, he cuts her off and tells her that he's going to be travelling the Mediterranean as she suggested. She's like, oh, damn, I'm stupid. Penelope runs off, heartbroken and crying. And we're like, no, Penelope. Meanwhile, Eloise learns that the Bow Street runners will be intercepting Lady Whistledown that night while the Ton are attending the ball. She bribes her coachman to take her to the publisher and waits for Lady Whistledown's carriage to arrive so that she can intercept her. When she sees a black carriage, she yells, "Go! It's a trap!" And Lady Whistledown makes it off into the dark night undiscovered. Or is she?
Anthony shows up at Sienna's house to take her to the ball and finds her there with her other man. She explains that they're from different worlds and yada yada. I kind of tune out in their scenes. Anyway, they break up again. Brooding Anthony is back. Yes, because we need him brooding. Back at the ball, and Lady Danbury gives Simon a last little nudge back towards Daphne. Across the ballroom, Violet does the same with Daphne, talking about the struggles in her own marriage and how she overcame them.
We chose to love each other every single day. It is a choice, dearest. One that is never too late to make.
And after telling her that she is a Bridgerton and Bridgertons can do anything, Daphne heads to the dance floor for a waltz with her Duke. Sigh. It's glorious.
Thunderclaps and rain pours down on the ball.
Oh.
And that's what you get for hosting an outdoor event in England. I mean, come on, people. You've lived there your whole life. You should know better.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone runs for cover, except, Daphne and Simon. Daphne begins to laugh instead. Lady Danbury realizes a reconciliation is coming and is like, all right, folks, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And kicks the entire ton out of the ball. Simon and Daphne do indeed reconcile very dramatically in the pouring rain. They both look really amazing wet. I was very jealous. Daphne declares that she is tired of pretending that she doesn't love him and that she believes him worthy of love despite any imperfections. And I don't think he has any. Have you seen his face?
Yeah.
And Simon is like, well, damn. Portia Featherington and her girls arrive home to find Bow Street runners waiting for them. Portia's told that her husband is dead. She walks into his office to search for the money and finds it all gone. She lets out an anguished cry. What the hell's she gonna do?
Mm-hmm. Simon arrives in Daphne's bedchamber and tells her that he wants to be with her, but that he isn't sure of how to be the man she needs him to be. She tells him all he has to do is stay and they will work it out together. They proceed to have sex with some very beautiful music playing in the background. This time they maintain eye contact the whole time, which is nice. And then he comes inside her.
Yay!
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 A round of applause for that conflict being concluded. They both look really happy. The next morning, Colin prepares to leave for the continent, and Penelope sobs into Eloise's arms. But she's not crying for him. Remember that her dad is totally dead. She asks to be cheered up, so Eloise tells her tale of saving Madame Delacroix from the Bow Street runners the night before. Penelope is like, wow, this is brand new information.
Portia Featherington is standing in her husband's bedchamber mournfully. Marina decides this would be a great moment to interrupt her and to talk about herself some more. She asks how Portia managed 22 years of marriage without love.
You find things to love, my dear. Small things. Big things too, like your babies, and eventually they add up to be enough. You're strong, Miss Thompson. Perhaps even more so than me.
Marina then leaves London with her new fiancé, Sir Philip. As the family waves goodbye, Mrs. Varley, Portia's housekeeper, arrives with a name for the man who will inherit the entire Featherington estate. Do we get to know the name? Of course not. That's for season 2, bitches. But Portia does look shocked, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, damn. We'll talk about it more in a minute.
The Bridgertons and the Duke and Duchess all gather to bid Colin goodbye. Everyone discusses their plans for the summer, and what of Anthony, you may ask? What is he up to?
Nothing of note, other than finding and promptly declaring my intentions to my new Viscountess, of course.
He declares that he's going to remove love entirely from the equation so as not to distract himself from his responsibilities. Okay, so guys, it's not much of a spoiler if I suggest that his plan is stupid as hell and he fails spectacularly. Can't wait for season 2. He's so dumb.
Eloise learns from Benedict that he spent his evening with Madame Delacroix, and Eloise is like, oh my god, then that means she is not Lady Whistledown. Oh my god! Flashback to last night when Lady Whistledown was in the carriage, only this time We see under the huge cape, and it's revealed that Penelope Featherington, the sneaky miss, is actually Lady Whistledown!
Surprise!
Yes, jaw on floor. But it ain't over yet. Cut to an undisclosed amount of time in the future, and Daphne is given birth. In the same room that Simon was born in. How's that for continuity? But this birth scene is very different. It's like everybody and their mother is in the room.
Literally.
The Duke is in the room with Daphne, as is her mother, both holding her hands and caring for her as she screams her way through labor. When the baby arrives, it is a boy. Simon holds him lovingly, and when Daphne asks him what they should name him, he responds that it should absolutely start with an A. After all, it is the family tradition. The camera pans away from the new family towards the window where, lo and behold, there is a bee buzzing on the windowsill.
Buzz, buzz, bitch! The bee is here! Did you scream? Because I screamed. I was like, it's a bee!
I did too. I did too.
I love that you have no idea why you're screaming, but you're like, ah!
I am going to rewatch the entire. I'm going to binge it all in one giant gulp this weekend.
Me too. That's my plan.
Because I think I saw another bee.
I know that I've seen another bee in some scenes, so
yeah,
I'm gonna search for that.
So I'm gonna be on a bee hunt.
Okay. So we need to talk about all the storylines, and oh god, was there many? I nearly had a breakdown writing the recap. It's like, it's a long episode. There's lots and lots of scenes. I had not got very much sleep the night before, and I was tweeting, I'm gonna cry. But it's fine, I just needed more coffee. It was fine.
Yes.
The most important storyline, obviously, was Simon and Daphne. What did you think about this resolution?
I thought the resolution worked really well. It didn't feel forced. It felt like a natural progression based on, what all was happening around them, that, they would eventually come to these realizations, after their friends basically thumped them into it. Simon in particular.
He had an anvil dropped on him by Will.
Yeah. I mean, Will, I hate what you did. I hate what you did, man, but you really served it to Simon when he absolutely needed it. So thank you very much. I thought that the scene with Daphne, in the rain when she starts laughing, I was, for some reason, I was incredibly moved by it. Because it's like she realizes, yeah, we can do this. And it's gonna be work. And it's not magical or anything along those lines, but we can do this. We can choose to do this. And that was wonderful. I heart Simon and Daphne so hard. What is their ship name?
Safney?
Safney?
Potentially Safney. Safney shippers.
Safney.
Holler at me.
Yes.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh, God. At this rate, I'm going to wind up with a bunch of tattoos the length of my arm. For all of the ships that I ship.
There's 8 of them.
I'll restrain myself. But I might get a bee. Once I find out what it means. I got that bee earring, so, and that was just based on the strength of what I saw in the episode.
I am currently drinking from one of my 3 bee mugs. I have an obsession. Okay. Back to Simon and Daphne.
Yes.
I have to admit that my absolute first thought while I was watching this episode was how right I was in last week's podcast. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh my god, I'm either like a genius or this is really good storytelling. Because Daphne really needed to process what happened to Simon. Mm-hmm. I even suggested the Lady Danbury thing. I'm like, wow, I'm on fire. It just felt like all of the pieces were slotting into place to make that happen. I feel like she
Yeah.
needed that information, and he needed to realize that he wanted a family. I think that scene where he was in the Bridgerton home was like really important, because
Yes.
they've been so isolated from them in the previous episode. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you want to be a part of this family. Like, that the first
Mm-hmm.
time that I thought he was like getting really warmed up to Daphne was at that scene from earlier in the season where Violet invites him to dinner and he sees the whole family like giggling and
Mm-hmm.
talking, and I was like, he just wants that for himself, and that's what
Yeah.
Daphne definitely provides for him, because that's what she wants from life and that's what he wants too. So it makes
Yes.
total sense that they would see what's important to them and then try and fix it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, by the end of the episode, I was fully like brought back in. They have to be together, or I will absolutely
Yes.
burn everything down.
Oh gosh, but yeah, that was wonderful.
That was nice.
That was wonderful. Mm-hmm.
Um,
And it wasn't a like instantaneous everything's fixed, yada yada yada. We saw them having, as you said, having to really think about what happened. The scene with Simon in the Bridgerton household. Oh God, that was wonderful. Make me an origami horsey, please.
I have to admit, I didn't think that horsey looked like a horsey. I was like, has he made a seal? What is that? It wasn't until he was like doing the horse noises that I was like, oh, okay. I think Reggae ended up giving that to Phoebe. I was like, oh, my poor heart. They'll always have that origami horse. So cute. I melted.
Yes.
A lot of the scenes made me melt. Guess the next biggest storyline was Marina. She lost her true love, but she gained a husband in Sir Philip.
Yep. That she did.
I was pleasantly surprised by Marina this week.
Mm-hmm.
I was so happy she apologized to Penelope and Daphne, but mostly to Penelope because Penelope did not deserve to be treated that way.
No. Mm-mm.
And, humble Marina is far less annoying than that sort of smug, I know better than everyone thing she was doing before.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of side-eyeing her when she rejected Philip's suit, because obviously she was still pregnant, and I think it would have really been great for the Featherington girls. Hey, you ruined them too, remember? Like, your marriage would have legitimized you and them, but she's a bit as ever, she's a bit selfish.
I think she was still in selfish mode at that moment. Selfish martyr mode.
She does have a bit of a martyr about her, doesn't she? She's like, the world is punishing me. Everything's gone wrong.
Why me?
That was very much last episode. I've seen online that a lot of people are bummed that she ended up in an arranged marriage. They're like, that's not a happy ending. But honestly, this is a happy ending for her. I mean, alone, pregnant, and unmarried was not going to end well for her. Les Miserables for her. She might have ended up with no teeth. Anyway. So, Philip is actually a character from the book. I love him. And I think he's
handsome.
He's handsome. And he's just he's so nice and kind. And I think he's going to be a very respectful husband. And the fact that he is willing to do this for her and to honor his brother is like a really good sign. And she doesn't have to trick him into thinking the baby is his, or like...
He already knows.
They can start off their marriage on better terms than she would possibly have had with Colin. This is much better for her. I don't know why she was like, I don't want to trick him. It's like he's going into it with his eyes open.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know that they're going to be like true love, but it's better than nothing. Also, if she has a son, that child will end up inheriting the title and the estate that he would have received had she married Sir George. So really, Marina stands out there. Take the wins when you can get them. This is good.
Yeah, this is good. God. I agree. It did seem, rather I'm not going to say trite, but, of course, this person comes sweeping in, at the 11th hour and, basically saves the day for her. But, okay, I'll
that
buy
only
it.
happens because Daphne wrote that letter. Remember the letter that Marina was like, it's never going to work. Oh my God. Eat your words, Marina. She saved your butt.
Yeah. But anyhow, I think, as you said, this is the best thing that could have happened for her, and who knows what could happen between the two of them over the course of the next few years. They could genuinely wind up having, great affection for one another and, quite possibly love. So I thought it was a great way to resolve the storyline. Now, can you tell me how Marina fits into the story later on, or is this another one? Nope, you got to read the books.
She's in the 5th book, so that's a very far off.
Good Lord.
We've only covered the 1st book.
Good grief.
So it's very far away, and I feel uncomfortable trying to say.
Okay.
Spoileries.
I'll just have to sit patiently and wait, won't I?
Yeah. Another Featherington storyline, Baron Featherington. He de-worded. The whole season, I was like, oh wait, he's dead in the books. Why would they bring him back? It never occurred to me. Like in a million years, they would kill him off. I was like, in retrospect, that was so dumb of me. Everybody listening was probably like, she dumb. Yeah. I thought the way he died was super weird.
Yeah, me too.
Jarring. Like, you could almost not notice he died.
Well, I mean, I think my biggest question was, okay, so he winds up making this crazy ass bet, wins a bloody fortune, and they basically kill him because they're pissed off that they had to pay him so much.
I think they must have worked out that he cheated.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also like, doesn't that put Will in danger?
Exactly.
I was like, what about Will?
Exactly.
I don't think the writers care.
I mean, why wouldn't those bookies, be just as pissed off as Will, or just as pissed off as at Will as they were with Featherington? But
if they're smart,
I digress.
What they'll do is be like, "Oh, we heard you did this thing before. Will, do you want to start falling down during matches for us?"
Yeah, seriously.
Though he's gonna have to improve on his fake passing out. I was embarrassed.
Yeah, because that was ridiculous. He was pounding that other guy into the dirt. And then all of a sudden it's like, tap, oh. And it's like, yeah, that went over well. That went over well. And, Simon looking over at Will and his wife when they were at the ball, and, she's sporting this great big, giant, huge diamond necklace. It's kind of like...
she's asking to get robbed.
Yeah, pretty much. Someone's going to knock both y'all upside the head and snatch that ice off her neck. But, I wonder if we'll see Will in the next season. I suspect that we won't. But...
Hey, he has a happy ending. He's rich, his wife is hot, he's friends with a duke. This is as good as it's gonna get for him.
Yeah, pretty much. But R.I.P. Baron Featherington? Do we really care? Do we care if he's R.I.P.?
I mean, he can be in hell for all I care. But I do, like, as weird as I found this whole storyline, it provides so much fun opportunities for a second season. I mean, as soon as I finished the episode, I was like, who's the new heir?
I know.
In the books, because he died years ago. And the girls are just living in London. You don't really give a shit about who the heir is. That's not really a storyline.
Right. But now
I'm like,
now it has become one.
this is a thing. I need to know immediately. Portia Featherington is gonna get even more desperate to marry these girls. She's like, get them off my hands. I broke.
Exactly. Oh God.
Gonna be fun.
Okay, and our last storyline that we're going to focus on is Eloise and Lady Whistledown.
I thought, like, the whole season, Eloise's Lady Whistledown plot has been badly written because Eloise has been dumb.
She's just throwing guesses out there in the air, like, it's you.
And this time she was like, pretty sure it was Madame Delacroix because there was some smiling and nodding happening. I was kind of confused, like, why don't you just send a note to Madame Delacroix or something and be like, don't show up tonight, instead of running the risk of her showing up and then being chased? Because, I mean, come on, it wouldn't have been that hard for them to follow the coach. But anyway, Penelope.
That sneaky little minx.
So sneaky.
It totally all makes sense.
Yeah. So that reveal didn't come until the fourth book.
Oh my gosh.
I think I guessed in the second or third book. I did a poll on Twitter.
Oh, you did?
Quite a large proportion of people did not guess until it was revealed in the book. Did you have any inkling that it could have been Penelope?
No.
So you're gonna enjoy that rewatch because
I am.
There are clues. There are pretty significant ones.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the biggest one is, how the revelation of Marina's pregnancy took place after the whole Marina's gonna marry Colin thing.
Yeah.
It was like, she's like, all right, I've just had enough.
She got pushed.
Of this bullshit. So I'm like, okay, it's out. And when you think about it, if things had been covered up as well as they had been, who would have known, who could have known about Marina's situation other than Penelope? Yeah, to be able to definitively say, she's with child. Meh.
Everybody else who knew had nothing to gain from revealing it.
Yeah.
So the way the episode is structured, it's like, they have that argument. One of the next scenes is the article being printed. And then you see Penelope running into Eloise's arms sobbing.
Yes.
And the way I saw that moment as somebody who knew she had written it was like, oh, she feels really guilty. And yeah, the writers are so good at sort of playing the line for book readers and fresh new baby eyes like you. It's just been glorious to watch Nicola's performance. I love the look on her face when they revealed it. She's like, yeah, bitch. It's me.
It's me.
Yeah. So I was thinking they probably jumped the gun on this reveal because the books are, quite frankly, 20 years old now. And you can Google who Lady Whistledown is.
Oh, but why would you want to spoil it for yourself,
People want to spoil it.
Why?
I don't know. Spoilers are a whole industry. It's a thing.
I was just... Oh my god! Oh, yeah.
I wonder how they're going to play this in the next season as well, because now that we have the reveal, will we need Julie Andrews? Question mark.
I hope so.
I mean, I can't imagine anybody reading those better than she does. I just love her so much.
Yeah, I hope that they do, because it's been a delight hearing her reading these sly little nuggets of information that are devastating the ton and making the queen a little bit crazy.
I love the thought of her, like, sitting down to watch this show that she's been on and being like, oh, wow, there's a lot of sex in this. Just...
Oh, goodness. Well, she quite famously showed her breasts in, oh God, what movie was that? And everybody was shocked. It was like, oh, Julie Andrews?
She has
doing
breasts?
something like that? Oh, no. Yeah, it was quite scandalous at the time. So I have a feeling that she enjoyed it.
Oh, you know she does. Nobody who can read those lines so deliciously doesn't enjoy a good sex scene.
Okay, favorite scenes.
I know you said earlier that you loved the confession in the rain.
Yes.
But I think I prefer the scene afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
Because as beautiful as that was, I was sort of like, okay, but you need to actually sit down and talk about how you fixed the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And
the
moment where he walks in, I was like, oh, good. We're going to get this. And she told him that he just has to commit to working on it and not leave. I thought that was really important for me as a viewer. It just made me really happy. Because I was like, oh, communication is happening. And it's not super dramatic. Because, I mean, what are they going to do next time they have a conflict? Go, like, scream at each other in the rain some more? Like, no. And it also led to that really beautiful sex scene.
Yeah, that was gorgeous.
When recapping, I was also I realized that they were at different points. They're both on top, and I was like, "Oh, that's so different from all the different scenes we had before." Like their sexual dynamic going forward has also changed, and they do read much more as partners.
Yeah,
in that scene. So yeah, that was really nice, and I was the end when they're both just like giggling and looking at each other. I thought that was so sweet. They're really just cute little kids at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh God, I adore them so much. I just freaking adore them. Let's see. I think for me, one of my other favorite scenes was the scene between Daphne and her mom, when her mom is finally, being candid with her about, the things that she misses about, being in the relationship that she was in with Daphne's father. And it's just straightforward. There's no more beating around the bush. It's really lovely to see the two of them in that scene. How about you? What are some of your other favorite scenes? Because I know we've talked about we've talked about many of them during our storyline wrap up, but what are some of your other favorite scenes?
I really liked the Colin and Penelope scene, of course, because they're just adorable. But I also just loved the growth Penelope has had through the season, that she was in a position to... She was going to tell him that she liked him. I don't think she really had any hope of him reciprocating those feelings, but she was going to do it anyway. And I think that that's so important for Penelope as a person to just be able to express herself. I think part of why she uses the Lady Whistledown pseudonym is to, because she doesn't have a voice in that society. So I was so proud of her. And then obviously it did not go the way she hoped. But I actually think it's really important that Colin does go out and see the world and experience a little bit before he settles down, because he's just a baby too.
He's a baby.
And I liked that he was like, as soon as... Even when he saw her earlier in the episode, he's like acknowledging her. I think he's come to really appreciate her friendship. Like to the point where he's taking her advice about leaving. So
yeah.
That's so cute.
And, I think by the time he returns, his appreciation for his best friend will blossom into something else. Because we saw a bee on his collar.
Oh, okay. There's so many bees. I just need to...
Yes. You know, you know how much of a waistcoat hoe I am. So, you know, I am, of course, salivating over all of the waistcoats that show up on this program. And I saw that one, that beautifully embroidered bee on the collar of his waistcoat. And I was just like, bee?
What I haven't mentioned, actually, is how many, like, butterflies Penelope is always wearing. There's a beautiful, like, it looked like a brooch that they used as a headband in that scene. And she always has, like, butterflies embroidered on her. And, like, that's also such a great metaphor for Penelope, like, coming out of her shell. You can do it, Penelope. I believe in you. The costuming is so good.
Oh.
This scene, I also noticed, like, you know, the whole season, Daphne's been wearing blue and Simon's been wearing red. At the season ending ball, she was in purple, and I was like, that is blue and red mixed. That is
there we go.
Some year one learning coming back to you.
Yes, indeed.
I was like,
yes,
she's
indeed.
Finally a Hastings now instead of being a Daphne Bridgerton. I loved the ball scenes, obviously. I loved seeing Cheese Boy back with Philippa. They're the underrated ship of the season. I loved when he was gonna take her out into the rain, and Lady Danbury's like, no,
nope, no. Y'all need to go. Get out of the house now.
Bye.
Oh, gosh.
Lady Danbury just killed it. Oh, I mean, this actress is just astounding. I want her to be in my life, just giving me advice.
I want her to be in everything. Yeah. She is by far one of the best actresses that I've seen coming out of Great Britain in a long time. Although, you know, they're all over the place over there.
The theatre scene here just got so many hidden gems. It's like and her and Golda, who plays Queen Charlotte, like, constantly working in the theatre. A lot of the actors from the show as well. So it's like, you know, Jonathan Bailey, who plays Anthony, has an Laurence Olivier Award because he can sing beautifully, people.
Oh!
Give him a song. Just, yeah. The whole cast, I love you all. Please never leave me. I'll be so sad. Other favourite scenes? Gosh, the whole episode.
God.
Obviously, when I saw Francesca again, I screamed. I was just so sad. Why was she gone for the whole season for no reason?
Yeah, I forgot that there was another child in the family.
You were like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. Cray.
The fact that Violet has this many children is just...
Well, clearly, she didn't mind her marital duties.
No.
I
also love just the end scene with Daphne and Simon being like, so Anthony, what are you doing? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to go get married. And it doesn't matter who I'm married to. It's just, yeah, it's the thing I'm doing. And they at the end, they're like, well, he'll learn by himself, won't they?
Yes.
And Simon's like, I don't know about that.
It's like, yeah, silly boy.
I was like, this is what I want from season 2. It's just Anthony being an idiot and Simon and Daphne standing in the background going like, oh, God, should we tell him?
It's like, no, let him flounder around for a little while longer. This is entertaining. Get the popcorn, dear.
Simon, in particular, is going to have a field day, I think.
Oh, yes.
Can't wait for
that. Oh, my gosh. This entire episode, it was brilliantly done.
Yeah, I'm right.
Brilliantly done. When
I finally was able to watch the episode, I watched it again later that evening. I was like, I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah, it was so damn good.
Enough gushing. We have to pick our least favourite scene.
Oh,
We have to do it. Yes.
Okay, you go first.
Obviously, I'm going to say the Sienna and Anthony scenes. Pick one. Any of them. I hate them all. But in particular, I thought the breakup speech, while very beautifully performed, you know I love that actress. It was overly long, and trite, and they've broken up and got back together so much over the course of the season that I feel like a yo-yo that I'm with.
Yeah.
I think if you binge the show, it's probably less annoying, but God, I can't keep up with them. But I got to see Anthony shirtless, so I can't hate too much.
Like you said, they've done this so often. What are we supposed to take from this last breakup scene to be convinced that this is finally it? The fact that he stomps off and throws the flowers down.
No, he's going to get married this time, I think.
Well, yes. Yeah.
I think that's the only difference.
It sounds, it's so childish. It's like, okay, I throw my flowers down because I can't have her, and so I'm just going to get married. Nah.
Oh, Anthony, you're so dumb. I love him. Oh. He's so dumb. He's just the stupidest. And he's like, oh, well, I just won't be in love. That will make things less complicated. Like, oh, yes. God, no, honey. That's gonna make things more complicated, you dumbass. But, yeah, as stupid as that is, I'm just hoping that is set up for when he is out on the town trying to find a wife and doing it in the worst way you possibly could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love him so much. You don't know.
Oh gosh. Well, I am very much looking forward to reading the book that you so graciously sent me. Thank you again. So that I can see how this adaptation stands up to the book. As you know, I have feelings about these kinds of things.
We have several hundred episodes of feelings.
Of feelings, yes. But I would have to agree the scenes with Anthony and Sienna were a little too much.
Yeah, I think they laid it on really heavy with the love as well. I was like, she ain't your girl, boo. Why are we going so heavy on this? Like, you're gonna feel like such an idiot. Yeah, it's just really weird. And also I feel like this is so dumb, but I feel like I'm watching him cheat on his true love because I'm so invested in that relationship that it's like, who is this woman, Anthony? Why are you telling her you love her? It's just not pleasant. I don't know how they expected us as like the book readers to like view that and get invested. Like, we can't. Like, once you have a ship, you can't be cheating on it. Like, those are the rules of the internet. It's just been a wild ride, let me say.
Oh God. Oh Lord. Okay, performer of the episode.
Okay, so for me it's Polly Walker. She was a steal scener the entire show. All her little asides were really funny, and especially in that scene where she breaks down in the Baron's office. I cried with her.
Yeah.
It's not a typical reaction to a death that you will often see on screen because I think it was definitely tinged with the loss of the money and the status rather than him. But it still broke your heart. She had worked so hard to fix everything for herself and her daughters, and just to have everything crumble in front of her. Like, you felt devastated. Not about him because he's irrelevant. You just... I feel so sorry for her. And you understand the priority she has And, it may not be her husband, but she loves her daughters, and that's why she's crying.
Yeah.
I just love her. I love how complicated this character is. I love that we're seeing a woman of a certain age, shall I say, just like getting such a good role.
Yes.
And I also love the contrast that they made between her as a widow and Violet as well. They definitely, they haven't mentioned Violet's like widowhood until this episode, and I think it was purposeful to sort of set up how their different reactions to the deaths, given how different the nature of their marriages were. And it was just superb writing, but in particular the performance. Like, oh, Polly Walker, you're a genius, gorgeous woman. I would watch a whole Lady Featherington spin-off at this point. And I can't wait to see her in season 2, because she's going to be scheming again, and it's going to be glorious.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a part of me that thinks to myself, how could she not know who the person that was going to inherit the estate be?
That was one of my first tweets. I was like, they would have been setting up a marriage between one of their 3 daughters and this random dude from birth.
Yep, absolutely. But anyhow, we'll get into that later.
I'm hoping for a Mr. Collins situation, everyone.
Oh, what's excellent boiled potatoes.
Okay, so how many bees out of 5?
10.
10
just,
10 whole bees.
Just all the bees. All the bees.
A whole hive.
Oh, absolutely. Great big giant hive. Oh, God. It was so good. 5. Okay, if we have to keep it within the range, then 5. It was outstanding. Outstanding. This whole series blows my mind. Blows my mind.
I would agree. Obviously, for reasons we have discussed.
Yes.
Just the best thing that has ever happened. Yay, Bridgerton! Okay. So, it is time for our inbox section, because we've already gone over an hour.
Oh my God, okay.
So, by the way, guys, if you sent in an email and it hasn't been read out yet, fear not. I have kept a few of them for our season 1 retrospective podcast next week, because it goes over some ground that deals with previous episodes. It's better to do it that way. And if you have any random thoughts about any aspects of season 1, do email us about it, because we are here for it.
Yes.
I'm dying to know what you guys think, because we've been let loose from our little spoiler-free bubble. We're out in the wild now, and we need to know.
Yes.
Okay.
So here's our first. It's from Hello Owls again. Well, it's here, the end of the season. Y'all, it's been a journey. I took some notes this time, so I'll not be all over the place. Never mind, I have ADHD, so I'll probably still be all over the place. I'll just drop a few highlights. Might you move a bit closer? Shimmies 2 inches over the several feet of distance. Still makes me snort. Yeah. So anyway,
my God, can we talk about why is he drawing the background before he does the people? Who works that way? I'm angry.
Honestly. Oh my God. And she says, still makes me snort. Anyway, so Simon is still being a dick. Sigh. Hey, anyone else get the feeling that Daphne's sadness isn't so much that she wasn't pregnant, but that Simon will be out of her life? At least that's how I read it. I mean, even the gay man can see that they're completely head over heels. Oh, have we mentioned the lucky mallet? I mean, I repeat, we have a mallet of death. All right, about Marina. I hated her. From start to finish, I hated her character. I resented her presence on the show because it detracted from much more interesting characters. Even if she does set up storylines for later, I think I would have preferred her elsewhere, perhaps in season 2, or just not at all. I didn't care for her at all. Her resolution gave me no joy, except in the fact that she was gone from Grosvenor Square. I'm just hoping she doesn't come back for season 2. I have nothing against the actress. She did what she could with an annoying, stupid, pointless character. Anyway, back to the characters I actually care about. The whole ball at the end, Daphne's speech, Simon coming to her room, it all feels a bit unresolved. Like, really? That's all it took? After all this time? You hatefully and spitefully punish your wife for weeks, and now what? You're over it? I don't know. It just felt meh. I'd have liked to have a scene from the book where Anthony tracks him down and gives him a tongue lashing. But we couldn't have Simon sequestered away for even one episode. I mean, Netflix knows what it's doing in appealing to its thirst female fans. Keep Regé-Jean Page on the screen at all costs. Yes. Yes. Another scene from the book I missed is when all the Bridgerton brothers descend upon Simon and Daphne at the end. Not because I agree with them, I think they're all right asses, but because I wanted Violet to show up and drag them out by their ears.
Oh god, that scene is so good.
I can't wait. I was so mad at those interfering idiots, I laughed so hard when I read that part. I think that's all I really have to say right now. I honestly could have written entire pages on the relationship between Daphne and Simon and the incident. If you do a wrap-up episode, maybe I'll end up sending it there. I think I'm almost done. I think I'm almost more sad about this season of the podcast ending than I was when watching the show for the first time. This has felt like rewatching and discussing with friends. This has been so much fun, and you have made the dreary winter hours at work fly by. I'm gonna miss you. Thanks for everything, Owls. Thank you,
We
Owls.
love soppy declarations of how great we are. Like, it's so... It's such a good feeling.
Oh, yeah. Rita is saying that because she is just uncomfortable. Uncomfortable getting compliments.
It's the British in me. It's like, no, I can't acknowledge my feelings.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah. No more Marina in season 2, please.
Please. No more. Not even for a visit. Okay?
I don't know. She could show up if she has a really cute baby to show off. Like, if she's just like, here's a baby, and we all go, oh, okay, nice, bye. That was fun. Go away now.
Oh, gosh.
Okay. That is all from us this time, because we've gone way over our allotted time. But we will be back next week with our season 1 episode. So get those emails in.
Yes.
Until then, you can follow us on social media. We are at Bridgerton Fancast, especially on Twitter, where I tweet every 30 seconds. We're on Instagram and Facebook I'm going to be honest, guys. Facebook makes me scared. And you can email us at bridgertonfancast@gmail.com or go to our message page on Tumblr. And remember to subscribe, rate, and review because it really helps us reach a larger audience.
Yes.
Thank you all for listening, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.